Hi, welcome back. I'm Nige, simplysimulator.com, and this is the next in the series of the Visual Flight Rules Academy lessons. Lesson 8, Mountain Flying. Okay, so this one is a bit tricky. So the airfield is about 9,000 feet, so the air is very thin. One of the things you need to remember at the beginning of this is that if you move your throttle quadrant, then it might just change the settings for the mixture. The mixture needs to be set around 2/3 or 3/4 open, not fully mixed rich, because otherwise the air is too thin. And my first flight, I ended up with the aircraft stalling and crashing into the trees. So set the mixture about 3/4 and you'll be fine. Then we're going to take off with a tailwind, take a right hand turn up to the first valley wall point. You'll see that in these new lessons, the upgraded lessons, there are waypoints marked. You really need to get within a close distance of the waypoints. If you miss the waypoints, which I did on a couple of my tries, then it doesn't give you the next waypoint. You could end up going up the wrong alley, literally, the wrong valley, and at a dead end. So fly to and across the waypoints, stick to the altitude and the tasks that are required. For example, when you're asked to retract the flaps, and then each time you do one of those tasks or pass a waypoint, then you'll be offered a new waypoint. So here's the video. Hope you enjoy it. So as before, we're going to accept activities, select custom content, and then tab down to find VFR Academy number 8, Mountain Flying.
This is Tailwind, Colorado, a high-altitude airfield surrounded by stunning mountain ranges. Mountain flying is a vast subject in its own right. We'll touch upon the basics today. You have several factors working against you when operating at high elevations. The airfield elevation here is over 9,000 feet, which brings about some significant performance implications. You lose performance from the engine as less air is available for it to breathe, meaning a corresponding reduction in fuel flow and power. We've already leaned the mixture before departure to help optimize engine power. Next is the terrain itself. Straight ahead is Red Mountain, which towers up to 13,000 feet. So we're down on performance just when we need it the most. We have a relatively light wind today of about 12 knots from the west. On flat land, this would be no problem at all, but in the mountains we need to give it serious consideration. Anything over 20 to 25 knots starts to become hazardous and may prevent our flight from going ahead, despite what might otherwise be glorious conditions. For our more moderate winds, we need to consider which side of a valley we'll fly along, as one valley wall will give useful updrafts, whilst the other side would present hazardous downdrafts. Take off from runway 09, which has a tailwind, and make an immediate right turn to follow the valley to the south. You'll notice right away how limited our performance is. Bring the gear up straight away, but leave the flaps extended until you've made the turn.
So we want to increase the power steadily. 1, 2, 3, release the brakes, and then just use the rudder to stay down the center of the runway, watching the speed indicator. You see the red arc on the speed indicator. As you start to move towards the end of that red arc, as the speed increases, start the backward pressure on the yoke and the aircraft will lift off smoothly. can see the objectives will get ticked off. So tailwind takeoff. Next objective is to retract the gear, and you need to retract the gear before you start to make a right hand turn towards the first checkpoint. So we're making a right hand turn and maintaining a steady climb up to 10,000 feet. And you can see the waypoint up ahead. Retract the flaps, otherwise, as I say, when you get to the next waypoint you won't get a prompt for the next turn.
Enter the valley up ahead, flying over the east valley wall on our left side. The east wall is on the windward side of the slope, so this is where we'll find the updrafts. Stay overhead the left wall of the valley and watch how we ride the updrafts, helping us climb. This is how gliders fly for hours on end without an engine. The wind is flowing over the valley walls just like water over a rock. We're flying on the upstream side of the rock, riding the flow upwards.
So we're in VR now, so it's slightly less clear, I think, the video, but I think it gives a better feel as we fly into and across the waypoint to make the left turn into the valley.
Follow the valley around to the left. Take a right here and fly through the gap towards the opening. Climb a little higher to give you more height.
So if you stay overhead the left hand wall, you'll get the prompt to turn right through this gap into the valley that joins on. If you go too far to the left, then you won't get that prompt. You need to climb to around 11,000 feet to give you the clearance over the trees into the valley.
You might make a wrong turn when flying through valleys, leaving you flying towards a dead end, too steep to climb out of. The only way out is to turn a 180 and go back the way you came. Keep over towards one side of a valley to give you turning room in case you need to turn. Use this wide space to practice a valley turn to the right. Notice how much room it takes up. Reducing your speed and extending flaps can reduce your turning radius if needed. Target 30 degrees of bank.
So we've taken a 180 turn to fly back towards the gap and out of the valley, then we're going to take a left hand turn into the adjoining valley. The thing I learned here was I did not retract the flaps after the 180 turn. Soon enough you'll hear the flaps go up just as we make the left hand turn.
Now follow our valley around to the left. This time we'll fly on the western wall, again to our left. This will be the leeward side with the air rushing back down the downstream side of our rock.
So you'll find you're fighting the air here. Trim the aircraft, set the speed, but it is quite a bumpy ride along this ridge wall, and you just need to keep your eye on the prize and head for the waypoints.
Follow the wall around to the right, back towards Tailwind, staying over the left wall at 10,000 feet.
So don't go too far to the left here, otherwise you'll lose the waypoint. Stay over the left hand wall but in the valley, and then we're going to get a prompt. You can see the waypoint there for a left hand sweeping turn following the valley.
Make a long left turn here all the way around to heading 160, still targeting 10,000 feet. Now hold heading 160 and fly back towards our valley. When crossing a ridgeline, we approach from a 45-degree angle. This gives us more room to gain height and also make an escape turn away from the ridge easier in case things don't go to plan. Cross over the ridgeline ahead. We're crossing the ridge now, so the wind will start to change from an updraft to a downdraft. As we mentioned earlier, mountain flying is its own art, but now you've seen firsthand how strong downdrafts can be, even with moderate winds.
So that's the end of the lesson, or you can, like me, do a 180 and fly back and land at Tailwind. So that was useful. That's all I've got for you in this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you want to subscribe and see further videos, then please subscribe, or leave me any comments. I'd love to hear what you think and what I might do videos on in the future, and I'll catch you next time.